I found out that we could rent this house, and the guy managing it told me that I had a gap of 10 days from the moment the old tenants moved out. So in these 10 days, I did absolutely everything that you can see. I grew up, first of all, in Somerset and then in Oxfordshire. My father is partly Russian and my mother's completely English, so I absorbed very much from both sides. But when I was 18, the Soviet Union collapsed, and my father suddenly said to me, right, this is it. You're going to live in Moscow for 6 months on your gap here. And it was grey. There were queues to buy even milk or bread, but I completely fell in love with Russia. It was just something hugely magnetic for me. I thought it changed the course of my life, really. I come from the Tolstoy family, and my father is the head of the whole Tolstoy family. It's quite a big family, and he is the eldest of the eldest branch. And so Leo is a distant cousin. We have a common ancestor, I think, in the 18th century. But it was a very unusual family in Russia in that it had an unusual number of artists, writers, ministers. Another one, my favourite one, he got his whole body tattooed from top to toe, and in the 18th century he walked from Kamchatka on the east coast of Russia all the way to St. Petersburg, and then married a gypsy and fought a duel, and was friends with Pushkin. I feel very lucky and proud to be part of that family. So when we first came here, the people who sort of came and went, oh, well, obviously this will be your sitting room because it's the bigger part of this room. And it was my son who said to me, no, Mummy, it's much better that we have the table in the big part, and then the sitting room is the really cosy little part. These amazing curtains, they're felt and really lovely and heavy, but the most amazing thing about them is this border. They're all the illustrations of Pushkin's fairy tales as done by Bilibin, who was a very famous illustrator. They were embroidered, patchwork, I mean, just truly works of art. I love very earthy colours, and for me, the fireplace, this was the perfect place for our icons. We always want to have somewhere in the house which is a sort of central place. There's St. Spiridon, who's the Tolstoy patron saint, and his remains are on Corfu. Ivan, where's Ivan gone? Oh, here. I bumped into a friend of mine. She said, I've got this dream to ride the Silk Road on horse and camel. And I thought, yes, this is the thing. And we spent 9 months riding the Silk Road. And during that time, that's when I first rode through Kyrgyzstan, and it made a massive impact on me. And it was the place I wanted to return to the most. These plates I've collected. They're Russian, made by this famous Russian porcelain factory in the 19th century. And you can see the coat of arms on them. And then, but they made them for the Central Asian market. So they have this very Asian Uzbek feeling. I just adore them. None of them are the same. I don't have any rules, and I don't want rules really. A lot of people told me don't have your dining room table here. I don't believe in that stuff. I just believe in what makes me and my children feel good. This is a lovely spode plate, and look at how great it looks with that. So this amazing portrait is by my friend Craig Hanna, who's American, and he did it when we lived in Chelsea, and obviously had a much bigger space to hang it in, but I'm not going to lose it here. And I love that it's just kind of unabashed. We've hung it in a small space, and I'm holding my grandmother's Russian doll, which is actually on the fireplace over there. This is actually Swedish, but it just immediately, I loved it because obviously this colour looks so good with the Pimlico green. So the photographs of the children are by Edward Maplethorpe, who's the brother of Robert, and he is very specific. He only photographs them when they're 1 year old, not younger, not older, and they're not allowed to be wearing anything. And he has them in a studio, and I had to go out, so I'm not even in there. And he did one of them serious, middle, and smiling. And he said to me at the time, it's, you know, when they're older, you'll look back and see all their characters there, and it's so true. Once I knew that this would be the sitting room, we obviously, it's not that big, so I knew that I wanted a sofa that really, really maximised on the space. So I wanted it square, didn't want big arms, and so this shape is from Love Your Home is just absolutely perfect. And I also wanted it in the same, it's vulgar linen, the upholstery linen, it's the same as we had in our old house because it's just a really good background colour for these, and I kept these lovely chintz cushions we had because they're very special with the soldiers on. This rug is from Luke Owen, and I went through all Luke's rugs, and this was just the dream because it pulls out every single colour that comes into this house. We have a lot of this yellow ochre, the red, the blues, and I feel that it's the kind of final glue which holds it all together. This is an edit of my favourite parts from our old house. This was in my son's bedroom, and it just was a bit lost, you know, it was on a kind of high up shelf. It's a Victorian butcher's scene. And then this was actually a Christmas decoration. The Polish make them out of old sweet papers. And I used to only get it out at Christmas, and I thought, why? I love it. And it looks sort of fun there. For me, the kitchen is absolutely the heart of my home. I bake, and I bake every single day. This is an antique, I just adore it, and it's really practical. I think people have got stuck in a mindset of you have to have a fitted kitchen. You don't have to have a fitted kitchen, you don't have to have a fitted bathroom, you don't have to. You just need to, obviously I need a space to cook on, to store stuff. And actually I think what can happen is when you have these hundreds of these cupboards, they just fill up with rubbish, really. Yeah. I love on Instagram looking for antique dealers, and I found an amazing guy in Anglesey who I got that reclaimed ship's light from. The curtains, all the curtains in the house, all came from our old home and just resized them. And from different places, so they've kind of found new homes. These were in our drawing room and now they're here, and they're just really perfect. So on the floor, we ripped out this laminate, and then there were these boards, and they're nice shape, but they weren't very special colour. So I decided to paint them the same colour as the woodwork, this blue-black. And here I like it because I know I make a lot of coffees, I bake a lot of cakes, and I think the children probably get a lot of chocolate bars out of this cupboard. So it's particularly worn here. And there where the dog goes out of the door. So it's quite touching because it's sort of our story. Here I've collected, as you can see, lots of Russian china. So my method with eBay always involves the words antique and often involves the word Russian, and Kuznetsov and Gardner, who are the names of the two famous porcelain factories. And this I adore. It's a shrine. She makes shrines, and it's got our Arga in it. So when I came here, they had a bed like this going here. But I quickly realised if I did that, I wouldn't have any storage, and I had found this wonderful wardrobe that I wanted to have. And I also love sleeping like that because my children often come down and it feels very welcoming because they come straight in. But I've had a lot of people telling me, oh, it's bad feng shui. You shouldn't be sleeping like that. But again, I think you just do, you know, what works for you rather than obeying some kind of rule. So this chair was in my cottage. So I think the patchwork must be 100 years old. It's made in that way, you know, when it's not sewn, it's kind of stuck. But you must use things. I don't want to have things like a museum, so I don't mind that it's worn out a bit. These cushions are what I sell on the Tolstoy edit. They're Russian roller fabric, and I adore them, but I'd actually bought them and put them in my son's room, and they kind of didn't really work there. And then every night, inevitably, I had one child sleeping with me, but they all kick me. So this is the most perfect bolster cushion, which we have under the duvet, and I don't get kicked anymore. These cushions I'd had from before. These curtains I brought from, he's called Trad Chap on Instagram. So the walls in here are light blue, which is Farrow and Ball's light blue, and I didn't do the blue-black woodwork in here because I wanted it to be more sort of light and more feminine, really. So on the walls, well, on this wall, I've got the most amazing collection of these sailors' valentines. The story around them is that the sailors sent them to their valentines back in the 19th century as love tokens. But actually, I think these ones might have been made in Barbados, where they were made by local women for sort of commercial souvenirs. Together with Benedict and S.J. Axelby, we've done this amazing collaboration for the Tolstoy edit to do contemporary versions of Sailors' Valentines. So this is my bathroom, and actually I was very lucky with the structure because originally in this house this would have been another bedroom, but the owners had made it into a bathroom, and it is the greatest luxury. I just love this bathroom. I love having the chair, and my daughter often has a bath and I'll read her a story. These are old curtains from our other house. This is by my friend Natalie Farmer, based on a Russian motif. So this cupboard I got from the Tolstoy edit is Russian, and it's actually very unusual and rare to find Russian furniture. And this amazing, their Spanish-Russian company came to me and said, we'd love to do a big drawing on your wall. So what I asked them to do was they took motifs from this cupboard, and I think it's worked so prettily. They gave me a palette, I chose the colours, and every single one of these is hand-painted, and I absolutely love it. I found Scumble Goosey, and they make panels. These are just panels, and you nail and glue them on, and the room just felt so much warmer and cosier. So this is my middle son's room, and it was sort of very obvious it would be his, even though it's the biggest, because he's the most active. I hear him above my room, and I hear a lot of thumping and jumping, and he's got a lot of ropes and different paraphernalia that he likes. And it's amazing, he's just got so much freedom in this room. This is looking very tidy compared to normal. This is an old school cupboard, so I think I got it for the colour, but I think it's rather appropriate. It's got all the books in it. All the wall lamps I've used, I had in our old house, and then I got this flex from Pookie and just did them externally because I couldn't start, going under the plaster and everything. I got this antique patchwork from eBay and made a curtain, and then got the handyman to make these little shelves for his lead soldiers. This I got, it's a chess, but he loves chess, and inside he's got all his hammers and nails and Swiss Army knives and things like that, water balloons. And I've tried, you can't crush your children, and he's a very creative child who loves making things, and I've really tried to give him as much freedom as he possibly can have. I wouldn't want a bigger house than this, and if I bought this house, what would I change? And I would not change anything.